Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Sergeant's Talk TV. I'm Big Mike.
I'm Jason.
Look at us. We're t-shirt coordinated.
We totally on accident, guys.
Totally
not
on
kidding you.
accident.
Yeah.
I was thinking about getting you a red one because I know you like red. That's that Marine Corps thing.
So here's the funny part is red actually is probably like I probably own 2 red shirts.
Yeah.
That's it. My wife is she loves red. There's her jacket. Like everything she could do is in red. We have White Rock red, right? She did this whole version of.
Although everything White Rock is blue.
Yeah. And because believe it or not, like my favorite color is blue. And of course, being from Michigan, I'm a Wolverine fan. So, hey, it's go blue. Yeah. She spent a lot of time in Ohio, being Ohio State. Not that she was an Ohio State fan, but like her sons are big Ohio State fans. Yeah. And so like it's this whole blue red, and she loves red. And I'm like, no, I'm a Wolverine. Like I need blue. But every time I've got 2, I'm pretty sure it's only 2 red shirts. And every time she's like, man, you look good in red. And I'm like, I kind of like shiver. I'm like, no, I can't let my friends really see me in a red shirt. So, but yeah, it's a color I never wore a lot, but
yeah. Hey, so tonight, guys, we're going to be talking, and we want to hear your stories. The link is pinned at the top. So click on that link. You can come up into the studio and we'll bring you up and we'll talk about your worst nightmares in basic training or boot camp. We want to hear your stories. Okay, guys?
Yeah, we need you guys. You come on every week and hear us blab, and
we want to hear you blab.
Yeah, run our suck and do all this blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
We need some...
I know Glenn has got to have some stories.
Oh, after meeting Glenn at 3 Mississippi.
This is an adult show. When I did the video and set it all up, I said, this is not made for children.
Yeah.
This is adult content.
Glenn, you're allowed to come up, and we want you to come up. Like it's...
Yes.
He was... Oh, man, it was so awesome hanging with him and then Mac over at Southern Blessed Homestead.
Yeah,
because he's one of our chair force brethren,
right?
And but he didn't do bad at the range. Now I'll tell you, he tapped out early. He's like, it's too hot, can't do it. Got to go back over into the shade, But he was there. He was there for quite a while, and
So we're gonna tell some stories about boot camp. I have a couple of them. That doesn't paint me in the best, light or anything like that. But it happened. It was 1979. So what? What is it? What do they call that when you can't get prosecuted?
Statute of limitations.
Yeah, statute of limitations is already passed, so we're good. And I'm retired, so I don't care what everybody thinks.
Exactly.
What are they going to do? Government no more.
If they retire,
you really had to watch whether you were on duty or off duty, and you were a civilian or not. You still had to watch what you did and said. If you don't think they monitor you, you're an idiot, because they monitored. I know they monitored me. I mean, I've been brought into the office, and they said, hey, when you're on your channel, just don't get into I go, damn, they're watching. And that was out of the blue. So,
well, anyway, that was a big transition when I was in. Like obviously, you didn't have to worry necessarily about cell phones and stuff when you were on active duty, but cell phones weren't a huge thing when I started on active duty. Like I almost did my whole first enlistment. It was actually right towards the end of my first enlistment being done, and I re-enlisted, that I got my first cell phone ever.
Yeah.
And it was one of those that as technology progressed, well, by the time I retired in 2015, it was one of those that as part of the check-in procedure, they wanted what your Facebook page was, if you had a YouTube, if you had an Instagram, like instead of just putting, hey, here's my wife, girlfriend, my mom, my dad, all your basic info you always had to give up.
Right.
They were asking for your social media accounts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, and honestly, I'm still, just because I got so ingrained in it, I'm still reluctant at times, even though it doesn't matter. I'm retired.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, ooh, I shouldn't post that. The command. And I'm like, what command? Never mind. Send it down
Only
range.
person you got to answer to is Tara.
Yeah. And sometimes I'd prefer to go to a real sergeant major because I could handle those ass whoops.
So when I came in, I mean, every office had a Smith Corona typewriter because that was the government contract, Smith Corona. And though they were all push, chink, chink, chink. And then I think it was like 19. When I became a drill sergeant, all of a sudden I went into in 82, 83. We had Smith Corona electric. So you just had to tap, 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 tap. But you had to do the paper, you had to do all that stuff. And then all the reports were done on manila cards. They had to stick one at a time for each person for accountability, for pay. They had to run all these cards, take it over to finance, give it to them, and they would run it through the computer so they knew how much you were supposed to get paid or anything like that. So I don't think I really got behind a computer. In fact, they had to teach me how to operate a computer. And I want to say first time I got behind a computer had to be, oh my God, had to be 88. Yeah, 88. And I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, it was like DOS 3.0 or whatever the heck. And then when I went to college, because I graduated in 2004 from college because of the voc rehab program with the VA. And the only thing they let me go into was computer information system. Dude, dumb as a rock, like a bottle cap laying on the ground. That's how dumb I was. And they said, that's the only degree we'll pay for. And I struggled through that stuff, learning how to write code. But the guy said, it's perfect because you're not somebody who knows his way around a computer. So everything we tell you, you will believe it. And they were right. And I learned how to write code enough to pass the class, and then you went into design and stuff like that as far as building graphics and writing program and stuff like that. So, and all that stuff fell out of my head anyway. I could, I rely on Terry for a bunch of stuff, and now you don't have to worry about it because you got things like Canva and stuff like that where you just grab and go, and it writes its own code. So anyway, guys, hey, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about your nightmare stories. We're talking about what you did, funny, not funny. I don't care. I want to hear what you went through in basic training, and you can tell the group here, okay? So before we do that, we're going to say hello to the people in here that pay the bills, even though we're not making any money.
Not yet, but hey,
no,
guys, you guys are pushing us out there.
Guys, we're at 779.
Yeah.
And
we've
already gone over 2,000 watch hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So let's see who's in here. There's my favorite female Marine. There's Dawn at Hat Creek. Yeah,
of course, she come up on panel, but I don't know if she knows how to YouTube or something. I mean, you create a channel and you don't got no man.
Yep. There's Joe Fix It For You.
There's Joe. I see Rachel at Back to Good made it in.
All right.
And
There's our
Miss.
brother over there, Neil S.
Yeah, Neil had a good one talking about going to Great Lakes, leaving Florida, and what was that? Left South Florida right here. I had it pulled up for a minute. In September, in shorts and t-shirt, got sent to Great Lakes up there in Illinois. Took 3 days for us to get. Yeah, that wouldn't be fun. There's Eric and Tina over at Rainy Ridge.
Yep, there's Karen Bresh. She's in here. Hey, there's our favorite Air Force, Chair Force guy.
There's Mac.
There's Mac and his beautiful bride, Patty.
Hey, he did good at the range. Don't let him fool you. Don't be like, oh, I just this Chair Force guy.
Yeah.
I
would think they would qualify. I remember when the Army came out with that simulator for the M16 that you could pack up in a suitcase and you could take it if you deployed. You could get. It was called a virtual qualification. Yeah,
really?
the Army does. You go there. I can't remember the name of the TASC or something like that. You could sign them out.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Cookie. There's Lila Newton.
There's Lila.
Yeah, Queen of the Navy.
I see Ricky Smith, my neighbor from over at Veterans Landing, has made it in.
All right, there's the Peanut Farm.
I tell you what, the Peanut Farm, and I'm horrible with names, but she come out to the range there, and that's not a lady you want to be downrange from. If
there you go.
She was plunking and pinking them.
Hey, there's Kathy. She's been out of the net for a while. I thought she told me she was going to have surgery or something, but we haven't seen her in a while. Hey, welcome back, Kathy.
Well,
I'm glad you're here. Kathy. And if you did, I hope everything went well for you. All right, Glenn and Shannon Salty Life. There they are, living their best life down in the Gulf.
Dawn trying to blame it on the interwebs. Oh, I can't jump on panel. I'm out in the sticks, and I've got fiber. So there's the interwebs. Oh, like I'm pretty sure this whole area out here's got fiber.
Yeah.
And she don't live too far, so. Dude.
Did I say hello to Rebecca Touched by Yarn?
I don't know. We're going to do it now. Hello,
Rebecca. Hello to Terry, though.
And I'm sure that Ronald's got to be around there somewhere.
Yeah. There's Debbie Droth. She's saying hello to everybody.
Hello, Debbie. And
there's Rainy Ridge.
Oh. I jumped to the bottom, but right here is Glenda. They're watching on the TV. Got both of them. Her and
Glenda the Good Witch. Yes. Love seeing her. All right. Let's see. There's Tish. No Judgment Here with Tish Ross, the podcast. Saying hello to everybody.
Oh. So
there's Brother Green, and he's in the green room. I'm about to see out in the greenhouse. I was looking at Jerry and I'm thinking growing stuff, greenhouse.
I know, because Jerry's in the greenhouse too. That's what we're just gonna call it, the greenhouse.
Let's call it the greenhouse.
So Neil S, I'm gonna jump ahead a minute because he's explained how again to join the open mic for people I do not see anywhere to join. So Neil, if you go to the top of the chat, there's a window and it's like click to join. If you click on the link that's in there, it's going to take you over to StreamYard. It's going to ask you to put your name, title, whatever in there.
Neil S.
And then it'll ask you, if you don't already have the computer settings set up on that, and you don't have to have a StreamYard account. It's going to send you that link already. Just put your name in there, accept the microphone and the camera, and type your name and hit enter studio, and you'll drop down into what we call the green room. So Mike and I can see it at the bottom. None of you can. And then as we get ready to pull people up, we'll add you in and hear the stories as we go.
Yep.
But I'm stoked. We already got 2 in there.
Hey, there's Trina Rocks in here. How you doing? Trina's here. Let's see. I'm scrolling.
Yeah, I see.
Wow, Mike, you are old. I had like 3-year-old 1983. Oh, wow. She was 3 years old when I was in 83, and I'd already been in the military 4 years.
Yeah, Dawn and I were born. Actually, I think we were born really close to one another because if I remember right, like we were both born in 80, and I think we were both born in October. But I think I was born before she was. I think she's like mid to late October.
No, Lila, I didn't see it. I'm sorry. Put it in there again, please.
Let's see. Well, I'll let you keep going with the top ones. I see people at the bottom that are starting to pop in, which is good. We got 36.
Angie! There is our favorite VA nurse. I was talking about Angie to a lady. She goes, "Oh, I like it because I wore this shirt to the VA." Right?
Nice.
And in case somebody's talking, this lady stopped me. I mean, really cheerful lady. And she's going, "Oh, I like your shirt. Were you a drill sergeant?" I said, "Yeah, but that's not what this means." And she went on to our channel and subscribed to the channel. And she is the volunteer coordinator for the Jack C. Montgomery VA in Muskogee, right? And she's just full of energy, this lady, full of energy. And so I go, "Oh," and she's going, "Yeah," because I was trying to find out where I was supposed to go, and I was at the wrong end of the hospital, all tore up from the floor up. And I was talking to her and stuff. And that's what you see at the bottom on the ticker tape down there is the Veterans Resource Fair, 30 July, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Muskogee Civic Center over on Boston Street in Muskogee, Oklahoma. Hey, if you guys have anything going on in your community for the VA or anything like that, all you have to do is email Jason or I. We can put it on the ticker tape and do whatever, to help you out or whatever. So if you're in Oklahoma, okay, or you're willing to come to Oklahoma, they are having a absolute huge thing at the Civic Center for Veterans Resource. This fair is featuring resume building, tips for interviews, college resources, wardrobe assistant, because a lot of people can't match colors or do anything like that. Volunteer opportunities, financial planning, VA loans, VA benefits, and much more. So if you're struggling to get started and you want to know, how do I get my VA benefits? Because like Tim over at Ridge Life, look how many years it took him before he finally went to the VA and checked in on it. And now he's getting service connected and stuff like that and medical care from the VA. So guys, and it's also, what else do they have here? They got free games and activities for the kids to keep them busy while you're inside doing your thing. And they'll have food trucks and stuff like that there. So yeah, it's a great thing. And she gave me her information, and she's the coordinator for the VA Volunteer Assistance Program. And part of her thing is trying to get veterans, widows of veterans or widowers and stuff like that to be on a call service. And the VA just started this. So, who better to talk to you as a veteran than another veteran? And so they're starting this program and they're funding it. And I don't know how they're funding it. and stuff like that. But to get people to volunteer to help other veterans within the community, even if it's just calling them, you know, once a day, once a week, and just say, hey, how you doing, brother, sister, whatever, and things like that. And so she gave me her contact information, and I'm going to talk to Jason about this, and we'll go over it. And she's willing to come up on panel and talk about this program and to, you know, how to spread the love within the veteran community and stuff like that. So I said, hey, I'm all for it. Yeah. So
yeah, for sure. Anybody, and I still have the guy that that helped me get my increase. I'm still waiting to reach out to him. He's been pretty busy. And actually, I just seen in the comments, Anson. So they're over there at Ivy's.
There you go.
I gave him their contact info, but Anson, I just text you, so it should come through on your phone.
Back to good.
I just sent you his personal contact info, so get a hold of him that way. He's pretty busy right now, being the only one doing it. So,
there's your brother down the street there.
Yep, there's Ricky. So
Green setters are here.
I see Annabore made it in.
There's Webb's Web. We got 36 people in the chat.
We do.
That's actually chatting.
All right. Well, I think we're almost. I mean, I don't know who else. I see Butler Family Farms, but I kind of see him twice because, well, you guys don't see him.
Okay. Kathy said, yeah, she went in for heart issues. She goes, she's on a monitor now. Okay. Well, prayers for you. I hope everything works out.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, hey, both Grace and Fire is watching on the TV.
Right.
How do I look? Shave my head for this. Did I shave my head for this? Remember the old saying, shave my legs for this?
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Guys, anybody else notice now he's double retired? He seems to smile a lot more.
I do. Hey, guys, and later on, I'm going to tell you some big news that I got from the VA today. But first of all, we're going to bring up our first guest, and that is the one and only Reverend Drain.
Hey guys, how are you? Hey.
So hey, how you been, brother? Look at there, he's got his shirt.
Oh, look at him.
Yeah.
I'm styling and profiling thanks to my brothers.
Yeah. He was one of our first guests on the show, and I sent him a Sergeant's Talk TV shirt. And Glenda got one too.
Yeah, I'm honored to wear it. Everywhere I go, people always talk about it and ask about your program, and it's a good icebreaker. It really is.
There you go.
Matter of fact, I had a veteran that came back yesterday. He was airborne, one of my former students, and I got into talking to him about your show, your program. Hopefully, he'll pop in here tonight.
Okay.
He served in Afghanistan and was one of the soldiers that was helping the people evacuate the last moment, and was in the tire that they blew up. And sustained shrapnel and still carries it today. And he finished his service. He's out now trying to start all over, having a difficult time as it starts. You know how it is when you get out trying to find your way. And of course, I suggested y'all because he needs to talk, and it needs to be veterans that's around him that understands his plight, because a lot of people won't understand him until he breaks that ice. And I know this is a big program for people like him, and it's a great platform for them to reach out and talk to y'all, get the services that they need, tell you about what they feel, what they're lacking, and what they got from it. And I just think it's a wonderful program. I really do.
Yeah. I appreciate that, brother.
Well, yeah, that's awesome. We appreciate it. And that's why we're doing it. Obviously, it's we want to get information out, but it's also being the veteran outreach. You know, just coming on and being able to sometimes just be able to talk to other people that are going to understand and not have to translate, you know, use acronyms and do stuff like that. And we'll all, hey, we understand what that means. And, you know, it's kind of on Mike and I to be able to translate for anybody in the comments that is like, well, what does that mean? All right, well, we can give you the translation.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, and I try to, when I say something that's military and it's, you know, some kind of acronym or whatever, and I catch it, I try to repeat it, what it actually means. But if you guys hear it and we don't say it, just put the word translate in there. we'll do our best.
Yeah, it's like those who's never shined shoes or polished brass. They might not understand what you mean, but you know, even Jesus talked in parables.
There you go.
I didn't understand him till after he left. So
yeah.
But
so with having a couple guys down in the green room, so we're going with boot camp stories tonight. So we want to hear some good stuff. What do you got for us, brother?
Well, I got the Billy Goat boy. You know, when you start in and you break into boot camp, everybody's trying to find their way and trying to see where they fit in. And, you know, you have them certain individuals who left before they thought. And the Billy Goat boy was one of them. He thought that he'd had to get a way out. So he didn't know how to claim he was crazy. So he figured that being a billy goat was his easiest way out. He would get a running leap at the wall locker and baa like a billy goat and run head first into a wall locker and slide down. Shake his head a couple times, think about it, back up and run and do it again. And the more he started doing things, the weirder he become. There was some safety pins that Staff Sergeant left out. And he goes by and snags them. And the next thing you know, he's got 70, 80 pins sticking all in his face. And we was like, wait a minute, what is up with this cat? You know, is he just real or is he trying to get out? And I thought he was real. I just thought he was just touched, you know. And of course, you're going to get that in the military. And the more I kept watching him, the more I realized it was a show for him. And he was trying to get an early out. And he would do things like puke in a boot, let it set out on a windowsill, and then a week later come back and try to scarf it down. I mean, just like bizarre.
Yeah, he wanted out.
He wanted it out. There was no ands, ifs, or buts, and they eventually gave it to him, you know, and it was a memory that left in my mind to make me drive harder to be there and be who I wanted to be, because it sure wasn't the Billy Goat boy, you know, it wasn't him.
So was he drafted in, or did he volunteer to go in?
He volunteered. He was one of them boys that left before they thought, you know. Back in the 80s, you know, you did things to maybe get away from a parent or try to be something that you thought you could be. And once you get in there, realize maybe it wasn't what you thought it was when you went in. They didn't hold your hand. They didn't pat the top of your head, you know, and tell you a good boy or whatever. And he was just one of those. He was looking to be a man. But he didn't know how to be a good boy. So, you know, we always called him the Billy Goat boy.
Yeah.
I eventually got him out, you know, and gave him his wish. But yeah, all through my military career, I've seen a lot of unique things. But I won't keep you with my subjects, because I know you got plenty in the green room waiting to tell their story. But I just thought I'd enlighten y'all about what the people like that think they won't in until they decide that they didn't.
All right, brother. Always good to see you.
My honor. Thank y'all for what y'all do. God bless you both. I hope you enjoy your retirement, Mike. Now, if you get to where you can't sell that Harley, know that my butt still fits on a Harley seat, you know, and I got one to ride. So I'd be honored to help you out there. You know?
Selling the Harley is going to be one of the hardest things I've ever done
Oh,
because
wow.
I've been riding a motorcycle since I think I rode my first Honda 80 trail. I was like 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I crashed that thing right through a privacy fence because I was driving it down an alley behind my uncle's house, and I didn't know how to stop it.
Right.
It was the first time I busted through the privacy fence. You know, the lower 2x4 that goes across there bent the front tire all the way back to the motor. I flipped in there. Only thing that saved me, they had a swimming pool.
You sound like
The bike was stuck in the fence, and I was in the swimming pool. So.
Miss Tammy decided she wanted to ride a moped. So one of her girlfriends said, "Here, Miss Tammy, crawl on my moped." And she said, "This is how you do it." Well, Tammy jumps on it, not thinking nothing. The next thing you know, she heads off, runs into the barbed wire fence. The girl says, "Oh, no, Miss Tammy, let me show you how it's done." She jumps on the moped, makes a couple loops. Next thing you know, she hits a light pole and breaks her arm. I said, "Yeah, that's a good way to learn right there."
Yeah, there you go.
Way to learn. Well, anyway, I won't keep you guys. Thank y'all very much for having me. God bless you both. And
all right, brother.
keep
God
doing
bless you.
what you're making a difference.
All right.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate it.
So, Jerry, hey, how's it going, brother?
Fine. I got a request.
Yeah.
Stop calling you guys old. When you guys call yourself old, you make me feel real old.
There you go.
Because I was in the service before you guys even thought about going in the service.
Yeah.
Well, there's always we always had that mentors, and I think that's the great part about our community. I mean, because obviously we all know one another. To be able to go in and be able to see that multi-generational, like I typically, because look, I understand I'm young and I'm just a baby compared to most people that are the heck even in the Homestead area.
Hey,
So,
you've
like,
heard of military gold, right? Military gold. Jerry is military old.
Yep. I went in 75.
Yeah.
Actually, I went in active December in January 76. And I was out in January of 80. But I was the last battalion that carried rifles in the Navy boot camp.
Yeah.
After that, after the battalion I was in, they stopped carrying them.
Yeah.
But I don't have anything bad to say about boot camp. Boot camp to me was, walk in the park, as far as I remember. But I've slept since then, so a few times.
Now, what does one do in Navy boot camp? I mean,
Well,
is it like I don't know. I don't
we
see.
We went to classes to learn about the Navy history and stuff. We marched. We carried rifles and marched. We went to the shooting range. We basically did the same thing everywhere else does, exercises and a lot of marching.
So they didn't humiliate you and break you down to nothing. And
yeah, but that was I was expecting that.
Yeah.
So, and I don't remember anybody in my battalion that had really had a problem. We had a few people get sick and they dropped out, or they got real sick and they ended up getting pushed back.
Yeah.
But
where was your boot camp at?
At NTC San Diego.
In San Diego, okay.
But also, you have a problem up here in your title. You have Army, Marine, Navy, Air Force. It should be Army, Navy, Marines, because without the Navy, the Marines will still be sitting at Pendleton wondering what they're doing.
No, I did that out of respect for my battle buddy.
I'm messing with him.
And the thing was, so, and I love that, Jerry, right? So we are, and honestly, guys, I'll be the first to admit, and I might have even said it on here before, I was in the Marine Corps. Like, I think I even made it. I was at my first duty station. Like, so I made it through MOS school, or through boot camp, through MOS school. I was in the fleet. And somebody had made that comment. Well, the Marine Corps is just a department of the Navy, don't you? And I'm like, no, it's not. It's the Marine Corps. It's its own branch. Like, what are you talking about? I was active duty in the fleet before I knew that the Marine Corps was a department of the Navy. And we did all these classes in boot camp about how the Marine Corps was developed and why, because the Navy couldn't protect themselves and they needed security because they couldn't protect themselves. And so they went and got the drunkest guys in the bar and said, hey, come protect our ships. And so boom, the Marine Corps is born. But yeah, that was a making a we all joke, but I seriously didn't know that the Marine Corps until I looked at it and they're like, it's on the emblem. What do you mean? Department of it. And I'm like, no way. And blew my mind. But
yeah. So Army always comes first in any publication, military reference. It just goes, what is it? Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine. And that's how they do it. And if you watch Color Guards, how they, dress right dress, you'll see who carries what and stuff like that. It's kind of like, you always get corrected. First time I was told to set up a ceremony, I put the American flag on the wrong side. And boy, when they walked in and they seen that, they just ripped me a new one. I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm a private. I don't know. You trusted me, this guy, to do something like that. So, yeah.
Well, some of the things you guys talk about.
Always on the marching right, viewers left. And I remembered that for the rest of my life after that ass chewing and extra duty. Yeah.
Some of the things you guys talk on here, I relate to and stuff, but then some of it, like, I don't relate to, because when I was in the service, I remember after boot camp, I walked off base in uniform, and I was spit at and thrown rocks at, and I mean, it was not a good time to be in a military then.
Well, that's right. You came in right at the end of the Vietnam,
right?
The 75 last push out.
Yep, we went and picked up refugees and all that stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, it wasn't. That's the only bad part. That I have remembrance of. And even to this day, when somebody says thank you for the service, I look at them like, I don't know what to say. I get not flustered, but I get like, do I need to get ready to get jumped? So I'm very, very guarded when somebody says, thanks for your service. I like my wife, like, you might want to stand back, because I mean, when I was in, it wasn't a good thing, and it didn't until up in the last 20 years was where they finally started recognizing the services.
But you didn't get drafted because that ended in 73.
No, I volunteered. That's why I went in the Navy. I wanted to be.
That's the whole thing, because you weren't told you're going in, that you did it of your own free will. And I think the people that do come up and say that to you are mentally appreciative of the freedoms that they have. And any little thing anybody has done while serving their country adds to the freedom in their life here in America. So, I understand that.
What I was going to say now. I've learned to start saying thank you for your support.
Yeah.
And that's what I say now. When somebody says anything, thank you for your support. It's just, it's kind of tough. When I was in, after I got out, I didn't tell people I was in. I just kept my mouth shut. Unless I was looking for a fight.
Right.
Yeah,
definitely a totally different era. I mean, we actually, we had a thing when I was in tank battalion that they always brought any of the, former living tankers from, the older generations. They had a tankers association, and they would bring all these, old timers in that had served back during those times, and you hear those stories, and man, it makes me, like, as a younger serving in today's generation, appreciative of the guys that were back in that my amount of respect for back in the Vietnam era or prior veterans, because the way they were treated when they came back home went through the roof. Like they're above anybody, you know, to include myself, you know, that had served during this generation. But luckily society has turned around and been more accepting of it. And we can do those things, and we can go out in public and, you know, proudly wear a tattoo of a flag on, or, you know, put a service cap on, or any of those types of things. Because that was kind of a fear, like when we came back from Iraq in 2003, was how are we going to get treated from this? Because it was hit or miss, even for like the Desert Storm vets that we talked to.
Right.
Some of them came back to a warm reception, but some came back to a not so warm. You know, not quite as aggressive, I think, as say the Vietnam vets did, but it definitely helps to kind of know that history and understand, like, to me, there's different levels of respect based on the generation that you served, because that older generation.
Well, I come from a long family military. My grandfather was a battalion, tank battalion, and he did 24 years in the Army. And my dad did 4 years in the Army and 4 years in the Navy. Actually, it was Navy, then Army. So, you know, and my grandfather was World War II, World War I, World War II, and my dad was in World War II. So, I mean, I've come from a long military family, but, you know, when I got out, I just, you know, I didn't say anything. As a matter of fact, I didn't use the VA until I moved here to Missouri 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So, but I have to say, I've got probably one of the best VAs I've ever, you know, around. I have no problems with anything there.
Yeah. Hey, Kathy says in 77, she was on the delayed entry program, went into basic in 78, and was the first group of women that was not part of the WAC, which is the Women's Army Corps. They were segregated that way from the rest of the Army. So, yeah. In fact, at Fort McClellan, that is where the first WAC museum was done. I think they moved it to Fort Leonard Wood. So, yeah. So anybody didn't know what WAC meant.
So even our corpsmen is part of serve with the Marines.
Well, yeah, because
the Marines.
Yeah, the Marine Corps doesn't have its own medical.
Nope.
Our medical support is Navy, so we get the corpsmen that they have to go through extra training, I guess, to be able to come on that side. Wow.
Anyways, I don't have any bad thing to say about boot camp.
Yeah.
It's just when we went off base is when I had problems.
There you go. Well, that's part of boot camp. Trust me.
Yeah.
But you probably can't relay the whole story.
No.
Like
I can't really relate to what I used to do in the military either. So, I mean, I can tell you I was an underwater welder and a diver and HT, but I can't tell you the specifics about what I used to do.
The men's department.
Yeah. That's typically the standard. Hey, with the Marine Corps is going to be the men's department of the Navy, but yeah, it's.
Well, I always give Marine Corps a hard time because they're crayon eaters, and without the Navy, they'd still be at Pendleton wondering what to do.
Yeah,
they had no rides. So, you know.
We had to get around somehow. So okay, well, I guess let's pull up. We see Glenn down in there.
Yeah.
I'll leave.
So thank you, Jerry. We appreciate you coming up and giving us that information, though. I mean, that's a good, some of that good knowledge to go back, like I said, to the older generation.
You stop saying you guys are old, because I'm older than you, and I don't feel old. And I don't want you guys saying you're old because that makes me feel old. I don't want to feel old.
Okay, Grandpa.
Hey.
We love you, but that seems to be a you problem, not an us problem.
You guys aren't old. You young whippersnappers.
Yeah.
Bye.
So what's going on, man?
All right, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Well, good. Better than the past couple of 3 times I've been on live with you guys where it just turns to complete crap.
Hey, how did you fare through that hurricane when it went through?
Hurricane?
Oh, you didn't even notice it?
And that's in Texas.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it pushed your way or not.
I want it to rain more here, to be honest with you. So,
I think the Texans called Uncle.
yeah, probably so. Yeah, I'm over in Mississippi. We're a little bit to the east to where everything's going on over there. So how's retirement, Mike? You got 2 or 3 days of it in. So
Thursday will be 1 solid week of retirement. I will tell you, and I said this in the beginning, that I went up to the VA in Muskogee today. I have been fighting with these guys for upwards 1.5 years, almost 2 years, because I got 2 bad hips, 2 bad knees, and I finally made it to the office that decides whether you should have surgery or not. It took me almost 2 years.
wow.
And what they said, well, we'll bring you up here. We'll look at your knees and your hips, and we'll give you injections if you need them and stuff like that. So then I get up there today, 11 o'clock, and I had an appointment at 11 for my knees and 1 o'clock for my hips in the same exact office. Asinine, number one. And so I go in there, and there's a doctor in there and another guy, I don't know who he was. And they had my x-rays and MRIs up on screens and stuff. And he says, I can't give you any relief today. And he said, we just finished with the panel looking over all your stuff. And why haven't you had surgery years ago? I said, I have been fighting you guys to get to this, I guess, room. And he goes, both of your hips are bone on bone. It is infected with, I can't remember what kind of arthritis he said it was. He goes, your knees are bone on bone, and you're wearing away the lower bone on both sides. And he goes, do you feel like sometimes like your knees are going to give way? And I said, yeah. He goes, yeah. He goes, I would give you steroid injections, but we need to get you in surgery within the next 90 days because it's bad. And I go, oh, and that's one reason I can't ride on a motorcycle anymore, because it feels like my hips, my legs are trying to pop out of the socket, right? When I ride my motorcycle. And it's just painful. It brings tears to my eye. And then, when you shift or you brake or do whatever, you got to take your foot down or put it up on the road pegs. I can't even do that. I got to use my hand and help my leg up to get it off the shifter and stuff like that. And he goes, this is probably from a normal case to a really bad case. He goes, you're at a really bad case. And he goes, so we're not going to do any injections. He said, you live down in McAllister, which is an hour and a half away. And he was looking on the list. He goes, do you know a Dr. Gannon? I said, yes, I went to Dr. Gannon 1.5 years ago. And he told me then, they take your leg and bend it, and said I needed a hip replacement back then. And he goes, he is on our highly preferred expert list of hip replacements. He goes, we're going to assign you to him. We're going to try to get you in as soon as possible. He goes, your right hip is twice as bad as your left hip. So we're going to do your right hip. As soon as you get into physical therapy and you can maneuver on your leg, he goes, we'll do the left hip. Then we'll look at your knees right after that. And so they gave me an approval for both hips and both knees with no end date. So I got all that approved finally.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
So yeah, and he goes, I
See,
see
that's
you
not the
had
reason I
back
don't ride
surgery.
motorcycles
He
anymore.
goes, why
I
do you
don't-
only have
that's
10% for back surgery? He goes, that should be, no, you should. He looked at me. He goes, that's for people who just complained about a bad back. He goes, you need to get it reevaluated on your back. He goes, you're 70. He goes, yeah, you should be at 100% just with your back. So we'll see what happens. So that was my day at the VA.
Wonderful.
So let's talk about you and boot camp, man.
Oh, incredibly.
I know you were a 13 banger, right?
No shit, no. 13 Fox.
Oh, 13 Ford Observer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Incredibly underwhelming. Went in pretty good shape. Raised by a World War II veteran who had, I'm an old country boy. He was on my ass all the time, worse than any drill sergeant ever thought about being. Just that lifestyle wouldn't.
So was your dad Red and you were Eric on that 70s show?
Do what now?
You ever
Oh
see
no,
that
no,
70s
no,
show?
no. It's way worse than that. Yeah, it was just, way worse than that. I mean, I can remember. You'll laugh about this. He would give me a task. His heart was getting bad. He was older. Heart was getting bad. We're running a farm, so I'm running a bunch of stuff, and he'd tell me to do something. I said, Daddy, that's going to be too hard. And he says, hard is riding a mule bareback, toting a crosscut saw, a watermelon, and a jug of vinegar. And I'm, all right, that's hard. Yeah, I mean, hell, it's impossible, I guess. But anyway, that was bad. It raised me. So I go out to basic training. I remember the day before I left, I was actually cutting bean sticks for a garden. I don't know if you ever cut bean sticks before, but it's work. The day before I left, he told me, he said, son, we're going back to a World War II veteran, a guy that was drafted. He goes, son, one thing I'm worried about you is you ain't got no patience to deal with fucking stupid people. And I don't. I still really don't.
Yeah.
He says, you're going to meet people that are so stupid that you're going to wonder how they even remember to breathe.
Yeah.
And he was absolutely right. He was absolutely right. But the one thing that I remember, because I was in stupidly good shape. I had a knucklehead that was in the National Guard that had already, been to basic training. He's telling me push-ups, sit-ups, running. I wasn't worried about the running. The sit-ups worried me more than anything else. And I didn't have a problem with that, although I hated them. But the push-ups, I'm like, I could sit there and I would time myself. I could do over 200 push-ups in 2 minutes before I went to basic training.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we get the first, they're explaining us how to do a push-up. Of course, I'm 17 years old, cognitively dissonant, out the you-know-what.
Yeah.
I know everything there is to know. They're showed how to do the push-up and everything. Like, yeah, whatever. Next morning is a Saturday morning. We're doing our diagnostic PT test. First thing's push-ups. I got to start doing push-ups. I'm cranking them out. And I'm hearing the guy count. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. I barely passed that gum PT.
Holy crap.
I barely passed it. And I had a drill sergeant from another platoon that grabbed me and grabbed a couple of guys. So he said, y'all, some of these just need to learn how to do push-ups. Y'all can do them. And he's handle some of these push-up bars, just explain the actual motions we need to make and breathing techniques and everything else. And I had no problems with him after that. It was just like, my gosh. And that's probably the worst nightmare from basic training I had, other than some knucklehead on fire guard working a buffer at night and banging into your bunk, waking you up. That's just
yeah, we had a thing. This one guy was arguing with the drill sergeant. He goes, I've been doing push-ups. He was some kind of karate guy. He from New York or whatever. And so the drill sergeant said, I'll be right back. Went inside, came out. and he came out with a bell. You know, when you go to a hotel and you go ding.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he put it down there and he told him, okay, get into that position. You got it anywhere. It's your horizontal all the way across. And then he set the bell there. He got, I think he got two manuals, put them underneath there. And so he goes, when you come down and I hear a ding, that's a push-up. This guy barely passed a PT test because he thought a head bob was a push-up, you know, or shoulder shrug. He thought that was a push-up. So he taught him what a push-up was.
Yeah, and fortunately, like I said, I was in good enough shape, and I had absolutely no problem maxing PT test. It was just doing the right kind of push-up. And well, in the AIT/phase 4, I was in OSIT. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Unit training.
One station training.
I have to watch my language here. Just pulled aside one Saturday afternoon because standing in the wrong place at the wrong time, and another guy did too. Because the drill sergeant, knew that we both could do push-ups. So he put us in the front leading rest position, and the sorry son of a bitch walked all the way to the PX and left us in the front leading rest position. And then come back, with the coach. All right, y'all get up now. You were sitting there, oh, good grief. He's not even there. It was, that was, you expect that. I mean, heck, you were a drill sergeant. If you got a guy that can do push-up, you're not going to, you're just, that's just what happens. I don't know. If
I remember after I picked up my first basic training. We got done. I had to go see the sergeant major because it was my first one. And when it got done, he wanted to interview all the new drill sergeants and stuff like that. And he goes, what was the one thing that amazed you about your first class? And I go, how absolutely ignorant these kids are. He goes, what? I said, and I just went on and on and on. He goes, it sounds like you're talking about yourself. I said, oh, no. He goes, listen, I'm going to teach you something right now. The players change, but the game's still the same.
Exactly right, though.
You were as dumb as them when you came in. I will guarantee that. You thought you knew everything, And he goes, you were raised by a single mom. You left home because I go, how the hell does he know all this stuff? Right?
Yeah. Because
you had to get a security clearance and all this other stuff. And they went home. And of course, my mom just spilt the beans on everything, and he was telling me all this stuff. I'm going, holy smokes. He goes, and I'm going to tell you something. The weirdest thing that ever happened other than me, and I told the story before of me throwing my duffel bag out the back of the bus. And when you went to CIF to pick up all your gear and all that stuff, they give you the duffel bag. They give you the 200 series lock.
That's the easy day at CIF. The bad day is turning it back in.
I took that bag and I threw it out the back just because my drill sergeant opened the back, and this big, gigantic behemoth of a man was telling me I had 3 seconds to get off the bus. The door opened and I threw the duffel bag out, and I hit one of my drill sergeants square in the teeth and busted all his front teeth off with that 200 series lock.
Oh,
that was pickup day 1, and I'll tell you what, I was king of KP for the next 16 weeks. Yeah.
You haven't peeled the potato since then, have you?
But when I was a drill sergeant, the funniest and scariest thing that ever happened was, I think it was like 4 weeks in, and I went up and did bed check. So I was walking through the bays, and they're all, bunks. And there's 40 bunks in one bay, so there's 80 soldiers in there. And I go by this one, and nobody's in the rack. So I go back into the bathroom, check all the stalls, all that stuff. Can't find him. I go into the stairwell, and I walk up and down that thing. He's not in there. I go out on the landing. I go outside. I'm doing all this stuff. I come back in there, and I start throwing trash cans, turning on the lights. Everybody's jumping up, and they're getting in front of their bunk at attention and stuff like that. And I said, where is Ski? His name was Watowski. And I said, where is Ski? And nobody's saying nothing. Nobody's going to dime anybody out. And so I go over there, and the guy who sleeps on the top bunk, he's like this with his eyes pointing up to the left and up like this. He wasn't going to say anything. And I'm looking at him, and I go over to the wall locker, and I see that there's no lock on the wall locker, which is like a felony in basic training. Right? Keep your shit secure, right? I open that thing up, and I'm looking inside there, and I don't see nothing. And I look on top, and everything is where it's supposed to be. And I'm going, what the hell? Then all of a sudden, I look between his little washcloths, and I see two eyeballs. This little son of a SOB got out of his bunk and got up in top of the wooden wall locker. The space is only like this.
Oh, Lord.
And he was only like, if he hit 5 foot, I'd be surprised.
Private.
And he came in to be an MP, right? And I see him up there, and I reach through there, and I grab him, and I rip him out of the top. He hits the frickin' floor, and he's like shaking. And I'm going, later on, we found out that until the day he left basic training, he was raised by a single mom, and he slept in the same bed with his mom his entire life.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah. And I'm just like going, I thought I lost a soldier. That's as bad as one of your soldiers in basic training having a heat injury. For a drill sergeant, that could be a death sentence for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
Lord have mercy.
Oh man.
Private.
Yeah. That was my nightmare as a drill sergeant, that I had lost a soldier. I thought he went AWOL after that. I was thinking all kinds of stuff. And I didn't do nothing till I did a thorough search of everything, got everybody up, threatened everybody's life, everything, before I reported it. So then I took him downstairs, then I reported it. And yeah, we got him out of there. He had to go to mental health, and he was tore up from the floor up in the brain.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and that's the hard thing. That's the hard thing is you got a platoon, you've got 80 people, and they're from every part of the United States, cultures, whatever, religions, upbringings, everything. And you got to bring all those knuckle butts together and to work as a team. That's why they still do that whole breakdown, build up concept. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to tell the story just because it would take too long to tell. But you meet somebody in the Army, you don't know what kind of background they came from. You could be friends with them. You have no idea. I think of a guy that drove a brand new Dodge Daytona. His dad got him for high school graduation. Ended up going with him to home one weekend. He lived in Fort Worth, Texas, and dude lived like on just the worst part of freaking Fort Worth, Texas. And that was a long story. I'm not going to get into that. Just, you never know. That's where he grew up at. That was where, where his mother that raised him was from. Yeah. His dad owned several car dealerships in Texas, but Pop didn't raise him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting weekend, but you never know. I mean, it's just you take it as it is, and
Yeah,
if you have to go to
we
war,
always
you
had
want
fun
to go
with the
to war
guys.
with some guy.
We always had fun with the guys in boot camp that they were like JROTC. So we had two guys that I remember specifically that they did JROTC in high school. And one of them was actually part of their drill team. That's actually why he joined. So he did all the flip, twist, throw in the air, do all the fancy stuff with a rifle. And of course, they're not going to teach you that in boot camp, right? You have your certain movements, right shoulder, left shoulder, present arms, right carry arms, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like you have those. And so we were all in the squad bay the one day, and I think we were on like weapons cleaning or something. And he'd been talking about, where he had done parades and done ceremonies and stuff as JROTC, and they were doing the rifle drill. And we're like, BS, you're not, you can't. And all of a sudden, this dude starts like right in the squad base, starts flipping, twisting, doing all, and all we could think was like, you need to be on the silent drill team. And he was like mid-cycle of doing one of the maneuvers, and one of the drill instructors walks in the squad bay. And we're like, oh, this isn't going to go well at all. And I think he automatically got put as the guide. Like, and there was nothing wrong with our guide at the time, but he got put as the guide because they're like, oh, well, if you can flip that rifle around, now you're going to be playing with a guide on. Let's see you do it with a guide on. And they harassed him. But then we ended up with this other kid come in, and you guys have seen Police Academy.
Yeah.
So Tackleberry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we called this kid because, oh my God.
That was so many years after that movie came out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But that's all we could think about was Tackleberry, because this guy come on and it was just like, sir, yes, sir. And like he screamed so loud, like the blood vessels in his neck, his face would be beat red. You couldn't understand what he said, though.
Yeah.
And the drill instructors would go up and they constantly I think they wanted to see if this kid would pass out. And because they would just start grilling him questions, and nothing that came out of his mouth was like understandable. I mean, he would go for sentences and it was like, I don't understand a word that just came out of your mouth. And I think he was the only one that I ever seen the drill instructors grab, and they're just like, all right, you're here. I need you to be here. Like, we can't understand what's coming out of your stupid mouth.
Yeah.
Like, stop. Like you're too much. You're over moto. And, we really thought at first when this kid was doing it, we're like, this kid, he's trying. He's trying way too hard. Yeah. This guy's going to be honor grad. He's going to do really good in a lot. He was like mediocre at best on anything. Was just horrible. But he would just sound off. Like he had the energy level, but the ability and skills was non-existent.
Hey, congratulations to Mac. He got his rating back finally from the VA at 60%. All right.
I just thought about something. That reminded me. I don't know why. Like I said, I'm 17 years old. I had to shave, but I didn't have to shave but about once every 2 weeks. Just peach fuzz, pop out, have to shave.
Yeah.
Very early on in our basic training, we went to BRM, basic rifle marksmanship. We're out in the field. I'm calling myself shaving, and drill sergeant just crawls my ass because you got whiskers under here, you got whiskers here. I'm like drill sergeant, what am I supposed to shave? He said, so and so face, private, but I didn't even have any stubble. I mean, I could have. It was smooth. There weren't whiskers popping out. just like I always thought that was kind of crazy. Just, well, okay, you want to have a slick face. And then later on, throughout the process, these peckerheads would come by with a cotton ball and rub on your face and make sure it didn't grab a little piece of cotton to make sure you had shaved. And I thought, oh, good grief. But, nowadays you can have a shaving profile and grow a beard and just, roll on through.
Yeah. We had an Asian kid and he had never shaved because, he's young and he's Asian. Like, they don't grow facial hair, I think, till they're 40. I don't know. Like, there's a thing in their DNA. And this kid didn't. He's like, I've never shaved. And we were all in the head doing hygiene one day, and he had stayed out in the squad bay, and they're like, recruit, get in there and shave. And he's like, sir, I don't have any facial hair. And they're like, no, get in there. And I mean, this guy didn't even have a little peach fuzz. It was literally like he had waxed
the razor on skin. Yeah. I mean, that was me for the most part.
But he came in, and I happened to look over at him because he somehow got the head of the razor on the handle backwards. Like, and then he's going like, I'm like, what are you doing? Because he's trying to watch everybody, right? Because he doesn't want to ask for help. And he takes some shaving cream, and then he just kind of rubs it all over. And I mean, he's got it inside of his nose, like it's in his mouth. I'm like, what? What are you doing? And then he's got it like backwards, but then pushing, from down here going up. And I just finally I had enough. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, look, I've never shaved. I don't know. And so I give me that thing, and I put it on right. And I'm like, look, just go through the motions. Watch how I'm doing this. Pull it down. Go under. And so yeah, he went the whole time at boot camp. He could have had the guard on. I think actually there was a couple times that he didn't take the little plastic piece off the actual razor, but they never checked him. And he's like, he would just lather some on, and then he's like, bah, 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 boop, and then wash it off, so it showed that he shaved, but he didn't need to. He just didn't have. And I'm like, how have you never, like, I didn't have a full beard going in, but I always had, almost my entire high school career, I had a mustache and goatee. Like, I would shave everything else.
Yeah, that wasn't me.
No.
Yeah, well, when I went through basic, we got those Schick metal razors that you had to twist on the bottom and drop the blade in there.
Yeah, safety razor.
And it was a single blade.
Yeah.
And when you went every morning, you had to line up at the door, and there was a drill sergeant that you opened up your razor, and he took one of those razors and put it in there, and then watch you close it up. Then when you were done, you had to go out the other side, and you had to open it up, and the drill sergeant took it out and put it in a sharps container.
Oh, wow.
They weren't going to let you keep a razor.
That was in 1979.
And then when I was a drill sergeant, we gave them the little yellow and white Bic.
Yeah, that's what I had.
If you had skin irritation from shaving, when I went through, you just shaved the bump right off. Right?
Yeah,
I went in there, and I see all these people standing in line because you shaved first, then they made you shower afterwards, and people waiting in line for the shower, it looked like a freaking bloodbath. It's just dripping down their faces because they made you stand you had to have your shaving bag or your shower bag in your other hand behind your back until it was your turn. And you just got blood dripping down your bare chest because you're in your white skivvies, right? And I'm just like going, and I had nothing. I had peach fuzz. I didn't have nothing. And they made me shave. And it was the same thing. They sat there and had a class to teach you how to shave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of, you talking about that, the same peckerhead that was telling about the push-ups told me that when they asked me what size underwear I wore to get a size smaller.
Yeah.
And that was a freaking lie. And I couldn't wait for my first trip to PX after I got issued some, 28 waistbands when I was about a 30-inch waistband because that kind of sucked. But Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was,
Yeah, I remember the first time I went to the PX, we marched down to the PX in Fort McClellan, and the drill sergeant gave everybody a piece of paper. This is the only stuff you will buy while you're in the PX. And it was your toiletries and all that kind of stuff, right?
right.
And then you come back out. Of course, there's some jackwagon that had to buy something other than what was on the list.
Right.
And I went to basic training. My basic training started in August in Alabama. Okay. Being in the front lean and rest position, of course, you had to carry your bag. You always had your rucksack in there and your gloves. They made you take your leather gloves out, put them on the ground, and then you're in the front lean and rest. Well, that leather heated up real quick because, the pavement's like, if it's 90, then the pavement's like 100 and something damn degrees, the asphalt, because there always had to be that one jackwagon that had to buy something other. The guy went in there and they said, you're going to buy this. And on the list was Head and Shoulders, right?
Shit,
Head and
shampoo.
Shoulders.
Just,
That was the only shampoo. This guy comes out with some kind of peach smelling garbage.
Herbal
And,
essence or something.
It was bad. I mean,
You ain't talking about that.
attention.
When you
That's
ran,
not
you
a
had
hat rack. That's a brain.
You had the little clear container that you put on your left breast pocket with your earplugs in it.
Yeah.
The round clear one. See, when I was in, we had the one that was I just found it the other day. It was amazing that I actually found the thing. Not clear, kind of opaque. And it's one I had in basic training. So I could look at the bottom of it because it's just all scarred up at the bottom of it from doing push-ups on freaking pavement.
Yeah.
Where it is.
Ours was
Don't let those little round ones.
Ours was like a black tube and you screwed the top off of it.
Yeah, well, I said I don't know if I've seen the black ones. I remember seeing the clear ones. The round clear ones, but mine was square. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. Heck, you had to wear those. You wore those for years too, but I found that darn thing. It was just the bottom of it was just so scarified from right there.
Is that a word, scarified?
Scarified is a word. You scarify concrete.
Okay.
That is an actual word.
It is now.
Probably shouldn't work for talking about a earplug case, but scarified is an actual word.
Yeah. I think, YouTube, we were talking about hygiene stuff, and I think the worst experience for us was, you never actually got a shower the whole time you were in boot camp. It was, they had the old high school locker room tower showers.
Yeah.
Where it was the pedestal with 6 heads around it.
That's how ours was.
And you just ran a line, and one side was all hot, just scalding, burn you. And you may or may not have gotten soap on you if you were quick enough. So but it was a line, and you just went down, and then you came around the backside of the shower, and the other side was cold, and that was your rinse off, and then boom, you're out. Well, as you're coming out of the shower room, the drill instructors are sitting there. So kind of going in with it, when we did our PX runs, they gave us a list, and you didn't buy anything off that list. Like, the list was all you bought. You didn't get anything else. And then when you came back, all of the hygiene gear, and you bought it like every week or 2 weeks, whatever it was, we made our PX runs. It all went into what they called the whiskey locker. And so then it was for the whole platoon, but everybody had to buy the same thing so they would be stocked up.
Yeah.
And then every time you went to go hygiene, they would have, they made them into little packs or whatever. You take that in, did your hygiene, put stuff back in. But we always had to buy Brute aftershave and whatever the mouthwash was.
Yeah.
Well, they would take the smaller bottles and dump them into spray bottles. So the drill instructors would stand there, and I think normally there was like 2 lines. And as you come out, you just say left, right, left, right, left, right, depending on what side of the squad bay you're on. One bottle had mouthwash and one had aftershave. And so you'd come up and they're like, all right, close your eyes. And they'd spray your face. That was supposed to be aftershave. 9 times out of 10, that was the mouthwash. The next one was like, open your mouth. That was the aftershave.
Your
So
breath
like,
smell like fruit, man.
you never got them right. I'm like, how any of us didn't come out of there blind, I don't know. But I've definitely tasted more brute aftershave than any one human should ever taste.
And there's
I know-
lawsuits going on for the shit. They've been spraying aftershave and y'all told me to smells for years. Golly.
Yeah, oh man. And then of course you go online and hang all your stuff, and you stand there for your hygiene inspection so they can make sure. And it's like, how did I have time to scrub nails and trim? And like, you don't have time for all that, but they'll always a great time.
Oh goodness.
All right. Hey,
fellas,
so it's 9:21
time
right now. Hey, I'm glad everybody came here. Glenn, thanks for coming in. To all our guests, thank you for coming in.
Always pleasure.
Sharing with us.
Anytime.
We're
Jason,
going to try to do this once a month. Just stories from your life in the military and stuff like that. We'll do that once a month. Next week, we're going to have one of two shows for you next week. If we can secure Jason's friend to talk about how to upgrade your rating, that would be great. If we can't get the gentleman in, then what we're going to do is we're going to show you how you can get your national parts pass, a lifetime pass. Okay, so those are going to be the two ones for next week. We'd like to do the upgrade in your rating and how you go about that through a private agency. Okay, and that's the reason we want to do it. It's a sad thing when you have to hire somebody to do this for you, to fight with the VA to get what you actually deserve. So that's what we're going to shoot for. But if we don't, again, how to get that lifetime national parks, America the Beautiful. Okay. And so that'll be next week, guys. Hey, Battle Buddy, it's always good to see you, brother.
It is always a great time. Look forward to it every single week.
Yes. Hey, guys, if you got any ideas for shows that we can do, we'll research those and put something together for you. Just email Jason or I. Both of our emails is in the description down below. Again, don't forget, if you live in Oklahoma at the Muskogee Civic Center, they're going to have a Veterans Resource Fair, and it's on the 30th of July. Okay, so please, if you need help in those areas, they're there to help you. Hey, and check with your VA wherever you're from and see when they have them. I'm sure they have them planned sometime because it really helps the veteran out a lot. And the families as well.
VFWs put a lot of those stuff on. Matter of fact, I just seen on Facebook, our local one was looking for membership drive. I think they just did it this week, and or it's this week coming up. I need to actually get on the page and double check. I'm not a member of my local VFW because I can't give them the time that I want to give them. Because I'm still building my homestead. So I've kind of, but I go talk to those guys and I see them at the veteran events and stuff like that. So watch a lot of your local Facebook pages if you're not part of your community Facebook pages, because there are people that will post stuff about that. I've learned a lot.
Just go into Facebook and type, wherever, Missouri VFWs or whatever, or Google them or something like that. So, yeah. Hey, there was something else I wanted to put out. Forgot it already. But anyway, guys. Hey, guys, thanks for coming in. Remember, be kind to one another. Help somebody in need. And always think of that any chance you got. Guys, we love you. God bless you. Hey, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.
We'll see you guys. Thank you. Boo.